Hey everyone, this is Ernest with Brookwood Productions. We are here at Camp Tadmor. This is 2025 middle school, high school camp, and I'm here with the Calvary Chapel Worship Center out of Hillsboro, Oregon. This video is an in-depth dive into the Behringer Wing audio setup and how I laid out the channels and how we routed things and what's connected where. Honestly, this video is for me for next year so that I know how to put things back together again the way that we put them together this year and maybe save myself some stress. Hopefully you can learn something or point out areas that I can improve in for next year. Okay, on the Behringer Wing, we are utilizing all three, you see the A, B, and C there, of the AES 50 ports in and out of this system. So yeah, we had to actually run three essentially Ethernet cables, to connect back in on the back of the board. So there's two of them. Fortunately, the folks here at Camp Tadmor had already run one, so you can see theirs all nicely taped down versus ours that are strung along behind and then down the steps and then over to the stage. Let's take a look at what all we have here. We pop into routing, and on let's go to the sources group. On AES50A, this is connected to the P24 hub. So AES50A is the P24 hub. These are the stereo mixes that are coming back from the P24 hub. That's the mixers that the musicians are using on stage for their in-ears. And what this allows us to do is route those mixes as they come back into the wireless in-ear system, which is connected on B. Let's hop over to source group B. Source group B is connected to the S32, which is then daisy chained over to an SD16. The SD16 is sitting on the very middle of the stage there, right in front of that column, right about there. And that's where all of our instruments and vocal microphones are running to. We have the drums going directly into the S32, which is behind that curtain in the middle. So the S32 is back there. So drums, short run to there. Everything else on stage goes there. You can see the top of this is going to be the inputs to the S32. So the first 8 there are wireless. We have our handheld microphones and then our lavalier mic. The second row is drums. And then this is on the SD16. Our vocals, electric, keys, bass are all plugged in there. Jump over to C. C is being used for all of our tracks. So the tracks are being fed to us from an Ableton computer that lives by the keyboard. And yay, you get to walk these stairs with me for the 100th time. Oh, my knees hurt. So this computer is running Ableton, and that is connected to this Clark Technic interface down here. This Clark Technic interface, I forget the exact number on it, it's like a D90 something 60. Yep, DN9630. This basically takes USB in on one side, Ethernet or Ethercon out on the other side in the AES50 protocol, and sends 48 bidirectional channels between that device and the Behringer Wing. So that allows, if they wanted to do multi-track recording, they could. In our case, it was a cheater way of getting these 8 signals, these 8 channels of audio. Sorry, I'm distracted by the bats flying over my head. These 8 channels of audio back into the board. So I just didn't want to run 8 XLRs or come up with some other interface. This just made it easy for me. Outputs, we look at AES-50A. So this is going to the P24s. We do have a bus set up for comms, which I'll show you later. Basically, that's sending communications from my talkback here at front of house, as well as the lead singer's got a panic button where he can switch over and talk directly to the band from his microphone. That feeds directly back into the P24s on its talkback channels. And then all of our various items that needed to go to them. The P24s make it really cool for how you can route things because it's all stereo, so they get their actual stereo mixes, or you can do dual mono. So for dual mono, a great example of that is right here. You see how click and Q are on 43 and 44. Those show up as a single fader, physical fader on the P24s, but if they pan left, they get more click, and if they pan right, they get more Q. So it allows you to utilize 24 channels of audio into the P24s. That's kind of what they're there for. Everything else we're running as, or sending as a stereo or mono, dual mono mix. You can see we did that a lot here. So we've got click and Q that's on one, we've got perk and low that's on one. That's all coming from our tracks. Jump over to outputs on B. Outputs on B, this is again the S32. The first two are sending to the drive rack PA2. It's our main PA outs that's going to the big speakers. That goes to the drive rack, and then the drive rack sends it on to the speakers. And then we've got our front fill there on 3. These outputs down here are not actually being used for anything, but that would route to the SD16 if we needed to. C, we're not doing any outputs at all. Channel setup, we've got vocals, we've got instruments, we've got a couple of wireless mics, and then we've got our tracks coming in and computer coming in over USB. You'll also see on our auxes down here, we've got one for lead singer's talkback mic. On the wing surface itself, I am personally not a fan of switching between layers unless absolutely necessary. So I like to put everything on one layer. It just keeps everything at my fingertips when possible. And I like to organize things because my brain, especially after driving and being at a camp and staying in bunk beds, may not be the most functional. First group here is vocals. So you see we've got our 3 vocal channels. Next set here is on-stage instruments. So we have bass, electric guitar, and keys. The third section here is drums. Now, this room is ridiculous in terms of audio, and even though we have a cage, I think all the cage is doing is reflecting the drums back into the banner, and the banner is sending them straight back out to us. So I don't know that the cage actually did much for us. The only thing that I'm using on the drums mic-wise is kick. If I put anything else through the system, then we're just drowning in percussion. Spotify here is coming in over USB. USB is connected over here to the Pro Presenter computer that is also running Spotify. We don't have many videos in this particular case, but typically I'll run 4 channels of audio, 2 of them dedicated to Spotify and 2 of them dedicated to Pro Presenter. I did not do that in this particular case. This group is this third group over here, or fourth group. Yes, I can count at 4 in the morning. This group is for our tracks that are coming back. So these are the 3 main sets of tracks. They also have a main that they send back, but I'm not using it, so it's just off. I have 2 groups, a vocal group and an instrument group. Very simple. That's your vocals. That's all your instruments. So you can see if I select here, there's your vocals. That one's all the instruments. I did exclude the keys. You'll see the keys is not flashing there. That's because when I mute this, I don't want the keys to mute. There's a lot of times where the keyboardist gets up and he's playing either just at the end of the sermon, or he is still playing as the sermon's beginning. So just to keep things simple on myself and allow me to quickly mute things without messing up. And then our last 3 channels here are our wireless. We've got 2 handhelds and a headset that is working beautifully for us. Custom section controls, delay tap, and effects mute. This is mute group 1, which is also doing our effects. I've also added controls here for delay and reverb. These controls were actually from when I was using the wing rack during our setup and rehearsal time. I'm not actually using those here. Instead, I'm using the master section. Master section has main volume for PA, front fill, and then our reverb and delay that's for the vocalists. That way my hands can rest here, and my right hand can rest here on these two controls, while my left hand is moving across the board where it needs to over here. So that's our setup. That's how we're configured. Probably many ways I could have compacted this or run less cables, but I don't know. I like the flexibility on it. I like the way it's set up. I think we could quickly expand or add or adjust things as we needed to. So that's what we've got on the Camp Tadmor 2025 setup. Have a great day.